is, everyone? We're back. It is the Lakers Fast Break, and you know what gets us out of bed, out of the pool area, out of the summer limelight, out of the sunburn and the suntan is breaking news when it comes to the Lakers, and there's no bigger news than this. And here today to go ahead and discuss it with me, the fact that the Buzz family is finally selling the Lakers. And no, not to us, unfortunately. We came up just a little bit short. We tried, but my credit line doesn't go that far. It is going to be, and well, Joe did offer Sinblade. Sinblade's would wind up come, but the valuation I think was around 4.3 billion.
I was off about 2 billion.
Okay,
couldn't
yes,
meet 10. Got to 8, couldn't meet the 10.
Lakerholics just isn't worth enough. So, but again, we all couldn't get together and do it. But the Lakers are finally being sold. And here today to go ahead and discuss that is good man indeed. It is, of course, the guy who has been calling for this along with Empire Jeff TV for quite some time. It is Joe Soro. Joe, good to really have you here, my friend. This is a great day for us because we have been long saying we wanted Jeanie to sell the team. When asked or when we talked about this before several times over the years, I've said that $10 billion is going to get you in the ballpark.
And you called that, by the way. You called that number.
Yes, I called 10 billion. Because it was what evaluated last time around was around 8, I think it was. They were third in the NBA around 8. I said it's going to take I said it's going to take 10 billion, but you called it. It's going to go to the home of one of the Dodgers owners, and it did today. It is Joe Soro. Joe, good to have you here. No, Henry, I didn't. But I was trying to do some work in the backyard when I got alert about we need to do a show now. We need to do a show now. Yes, we do, because I looked at Shams Charania, and there you go. He called it. He said it. He put it out there to the world. The buses are finally selling. Joe, how do you feel?
Well, the great thing about this isn't so much just new ownership and a conglomerate taking over. This is the conglomerate, the kind of billionaire, billion-dollar company that actually does the right things, which is very, very rare. Billionaires are looked down upon by society, especially the last 20 years, because there's so many of them that have popped up. There was a time when billionaires were few and far between, right? So you didn't really click enough to billionaires. Now you have guys like LeBron James who are worth $1 billion, and I'm putting the bunny ears for the audio people. My view on how valuations work is maybe a little different than what it actually is I'm a big believer in liquidity. What are you really liquid? What can you create that is not a loan, that isn't given to you as a loan? And then to me, that's what you're worth. Well, the Guggenheims, Mark Walters being the chairman of the Guggenheim operation, which has been around for a very long time, those guys have liquid that's in the 10-digit number. So with that, not only do they have the assets, the liquidity, the money, whatever you want to call it, they are a first-class operation. You've heard me compare the Guggenheims to Edward DeBarlo, former San Francisco 49er owner in the 80s and early 90s before he had to sell off his stake to a family member. And then whatever happened with that, they ended up not being able to reverse it back to him. And that's a story in itself. But the point is, the Dodgers ownership, which is now going to own the majority stake in the Lakers, and they're going to own the arena. I mean, they're essentially going to be what we've seen with the Dodgers the last, what will be the 13th season now.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't pay attention to the Dodgers and are only Laker fans, since the Guggenheims have owned the Dodgers, they have won. I'm not going to count this year yet because we're not done with it. They've won 11 division titles and been to the playoffs every single year. The year they didn't make to the playoffs, they won 106 games and lost the division to the San Francisco Giants, who won 107. Oh, and by the way, they beat that same Giant team in the playoffs. So for me, it's almost like it was a wash anyway. So for 12 years, this is the 13th season that's underway. For 12 seasons since the Guggenheims have owned the Dodgers have gone to 4 World Series and made the playoffs every single year. And they are the class of all sports, not just baseball. They run things very well, very family-oriented team. A lot of ethics. Trevor Bauer, being a little bit eccentric, made one mistake. He was out. Urias made a couple mistakes, out. Yasiel Puig, a little bit of a hothead, finally ran out of time with him. The Castins, the Guggenheims, the Friedmans, this ownership does not mess around. They are about business, and they're about doing business in a really, really good way. And you're going to see it. You are now going to see it as a Laker fan. Now, the structures in baseball are obviously much different than they are in the NBA. The NBA and its new collective bargaining agreement has made things more restrictive than it would be in baseball. However, we are hearing noise that there's a possibility of a lockout in baseball in 2026. Nonetheless, I don't think it'll ever be as strict as the NBA, but soon baseball might be seeing either a floor in salaries, which I think the lower 8 teams are probably not going to want to do that, which is what baseball needs to approve something like that. Will there be a salary cap? I don't know. Either way, I have full confidence that the Guggenheims, Stan Kasten, Mark Walters will figure it out.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say Mark Wahlberg.
No, not Mark Walters. Mark Walters will figure out how to make this work, and you will see the Lakers be perennials, like you saw when at the height of the Buss ownership. And by the way, just to make it clear, I kept saying Stan Kasten. Jeannie Buss is Stan Kasten of the Lakers now. And then Andrew Friedman and Brandon Gomes. Brandon Gomes is the general manager. Andrew Friedman is the player personnel guy. Right now, Rob Pelinka is going to be the duel of those two. However, I've been talking to Empire Jeff, and Empire Jeff believes that there will be a change probably in the future in those positions as well. Absolutely a monumental day in Laker history. And I would say one that we will never forget, and one that we will reap the benefits of very, very, very soon, sooner than maybe we thought we would.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is breaking news. According to Shams Charania, they are coming to an agreement, the Buss family, on selling the Los Angeles Lakers for approximately $10 billion valuation. And again, this is something that we had looked up when those stories, and we bring it up as a side story. Whatever our topic is, we go into it. And then we usually go, oh, by the way, the Lakers have been evaluated this year as this much. And I believe, and I'm going to look it up here in a minute, as far as the latest NBA, evaluations, as far as from Forbes. And I believe they were still listed in third place. I think it was about 8.8 billion is the Golden State Warriors. The New York Knicks is next, and then the Los Angeles Lakers. Because the Golden State Warriors actually, I think, superseded the New York Knicks in recent years because of their Chase Arena and obviously their rise to success with their championships that they had in the 2010s. But yes, Golden State Warriors, then James Dolan's New York Knicks, and now again the Los Angeles Lakers, which was evaluated $7.1 billion. But Joe, I had said And this is the only thing that I was finding a little bit strange. I did say it would go to $10 billion that I got, but I was thinking that there might be a bidding war, or at least offers to just more than just one direction. I understand the Guggenheims and the Dodgers and Mark Walters, what they have, what they're allowed as far as the percentage of the Lakers, and at least they're in the room, or they're the first offer that they get. Why did it just go strictly to Mark Walters? Because if he's willing to offer 10, you know what you say. Let's say I come in there and I offer you 30% more than what Sin Blades is all about. The company in itself. What is what prevents you from the temptation of going also somewhere else and seeing if you can get a little more?
That's a good question, Gerald. That's a great question, because that's a question you ask so many people in so many different businesses, and I'm gonna break it down for you. A lot of it I've kind of already reiterated, but Jeannie cares about the Lakers, and she knows already in her own city what Mark Walters has been able to do in LA.
Hmm.
The Dodgers were the second most popular baseball team on the planet before the Guggenheims bought the Dodgers. So you can't, that's already there. It was already there. So the pressure of that was pretty obvious. Then the Guggenheims took over and created a culture immediately of winning. And they haven't stopped. Guys, think about this for a second. There is a 13-year-old girl, boy right now that have never seen a bad Dodger team. They might not have won all the World Series, done 4 World Series trips, and of course, we all know that 2 of those losses were jilted on it, right? That 13-year-old kid has not seen the Dodgers ever suck. That doesn't really happen in baseball. Baseball has an ebb and flow. You don't believe me? Look at the New York Yankees. They went to the World Series this last year, but they didn't make the playoffs in 2023, and they're the Yankees. Look what's going on with Boston. Look at Chicago, the Cubs, even the White Sox. Chicago is the 3rd largest market in America, right?
Yes.
So it's not just brand. It's not just LA. You can't use that excuse. It's the Guggenheims. The Guggenheims know how to operate a sports franchise. Jeannie Buss is obviously in a position, well, at least she was until about a few minutes ago, in a position where she's playing with resources that she can't compete with. It's not her fault. Her dad wasn't this billionaire that's been around for 100 to 150 years. Dr. Buss became what he became, and all his kids became what they became because their dad hit on a product at the right time and was able to bring that winning attitude to create the brand into something even bigger without those resources. And now imagine you bring the ultimate resource with the ultimate focus on winning, which has already been proven that this resource knows how to win and win every year. This is the perfect partnership. And the reason why she would have rather taken $10 billion from Mark Walters and the Guggenheims than $12 billion from, let's say, Bezos. I'm just throwing that out. It didn't happen, but I'm just saying, let's say Jeff Bezos comes out and says, hey, I'll give you $12 billion. What the hell's Jeff Bezos knows? What has he proven that he knows how to work a sports franchise? Fox bought the Dodgers from the O'Malleys. Fox is a billion-dollar conglomerate. What do? The first thing those idiots did was trade away Mr. Dodger. They did what Dallas did to Luka. Just like those new owners with the casinos did. That's why it's important not to sell for more money in case you run into that. In the end, what are you going to do with another $2 billion when you have 10, Gerald? How about this? I'm going to answer the question easy for you. I'd rather have 10 billion than 12 billion so that I can watch my team win. Hell, I would have taken 6. Because at some point, what is enough? Hey, Kurt, you're not too far off, brother. You're not too far off. I might have to do that. So I was looking at jerseys that the Dodgers haven't had anyone wear number-wise. I think 89 was one, 80's another. I wanted to do ones with my name on it. I might have to get a Laker Dodger shirt with Caston in the back now.
There you go. Absolutely. But once
I'm
again,
sorry,
the
I keep
breaking
saying
news.
Caston. Mark Walters. Sorry.
Once again, breaking news according to Shams Charania, if I can go ahead and say that correctly, is that the Buss family have agreed to terms on a sale of the Los Angeles Lakers to Dodgers owner Mark Walter. And you and Empire Jeff have been asking for a sale to the Guggenheims. And people are familiar with the Guggenheims. They are the ownership group behind the Dodgers that have made them so successful in recent years. But we've always talked about what we would like changed if something happened. For me, again, I think they will still look towards another building at some point, whether they can help from the LA or not. I still think that they're going to get tired of crypto. Because AEG, they owned cryptos. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes. So
I haven't gotten the details yet, but I doubt that they would have dropped $10 billion without property ownership of the stadium from AEG. AEG was struggling. I think when they bought, I believe 47% of the stock. When they bought 47% of the Lakers in 2023, May of 2023, part of that was having the arena be included in that. I don't know exactly the details. I'd have to go get it and read it to you guys, but there's no doubt that the $10 billion number is for the entire franchise. That includes the property, the building, everything that's in there, which valuation now for the Lakers, in my estimation, again, don't call me an economist yet, but I believe this may take the Lakers over the Dallas Cowboys as the most valuable franchise in sports on the planet.
For now.
For now. I mean, the NFL is always going to be king, but as of right now, I mean, Jerry Jones could sell the Cowboys for $15 billion. Probably.
It's the largest sale of a U.S. professional sports team all time, just to tell everybody out there. But we don't know if it exactly includes the arena as of yet, and what happens there. But we'll see what happens in regards to the crypto.com arena and see if that's part of this transaction. But at least we know the Lakers themselves are being sold. And with that, my friend, some changes in the not too distant future, if things don't go as well as planned, could be in the future, my friend. Besides the fact that Magic Johnson will probably tweet a lot more about the Lakers once again, for obvious reasons. And as we're seeing in the comments, a lot of people are pointing right away at the guy who had a very sheltered life in Rob Pelinka. That shelter is now gone. That, I guess, comfort zone has now been taken away. How interesting does this make it for everyone out there in Lakers HQ right there?
Well, I will say that most of your instincts are probably buzzing right now, and it should. There's a new sheriff in town, and usually the sheriff likes to pick his own deputies. So I wouldn't worry too much about the extension, because that's a question I got asked off air as well, on the air right now. Extensions don't mean anything to a company that can, I think, tap into 150 billion at any point of the day.
Yes.
So I, I
If they
will
don't
say
like
this.
you, they won't like
Yeah, I will say this. Don't worry. I wouldn't worry about sports operations with Mr. Walters and the Guggenheims because they have shown that they are very proficient and very good at what they do in the sports world. And to give you some more facts on that, to give you solid facts on that, when Shohei Ohtani presented the Dodgers, and this is something that I don't know if a lot of people know this. It's out there, it's in articles, but I think some people don't read all of this stuff out there, and I'll reiterate it now. It was not the Dodgers. It was not the Dodgers' decision to defer $680 million of Shohei Ohtani's contract. That was written up by Shohei Ohtani's representatives. They
you.
came in and said, we will defer $680 million of the $700 million contract that you're offering us so that we can build a winner for every single year that I am playing for the Dodgers. Now, what does that do for the Dodgers? It allows them flexibility to do what they did this offseason, which is sign everybody that they wanted to sign. And not only sign everybody that they wanted to sign, but a lot of those contracts, those players took less money. Back to that question you had, Gerald. Would you rather take 10 and make sure you win, or take 12 and risk a jackass running things? Well, it looks like everybody seems to be doing the same thing when it comes to the Guggenheims and Mr. Walters. We'll give it to you for a little less, but because we know you know how to win. Now, here's the other kicker in case you don't know. Ohtani has a clause in his contract that says if ownership changes or if Andrew Friedman, who's the player personnel of the Dodgers, gets let go or sold, or the team gets sold, he can then opt out. That's how much respect Shohei Ohtani has for those who own and operate the LA Dodgers. This is exactly what we've all wanted, even those who didn't know what they wanted or even knew about any of this. You are going to be very happy very, very soon with this ownership. It is the best ownership in sports. And I'm not saying this because they're running the Dodgers. Just go do some homework and you'll see. Go see how the Boston Red Sox are going downhill. Go see how the Yankees aren't running things like the boss used to, which is not fair. That's not fair for the Yankees. And I've talked to Yankee fans. I have a lot of Yankee fans that I talk to on occasion, and they're upset. Hal's not like his pops. I go, that's unrealistic. George Steinbrenner was not a normal man. He was a winning psychopath. Everything you want in a man, George was that guy. You can't expect his offspring to be like that, or his friends, or anyone else. You're not just like that because you can just choose to be like that. That was who he was from birth, and it just got more and more advanced the more he won.
It looks like, well, I just wanted to say, so it looks like he did earn the first right. The Guggenheims earned the first right of refusal when they purchased
in 2023, correct?
In 2021. In 2021.
Was it 2021? Yeah, 2021. Sorry, not 2023. Yeah, you're right.
Yes, according to Ramona Shelburne of ESPN, he did earn the first right of refusal. So I guess she put it out there. And, Jeannie Buss, for lack of a better term, is one of the poor owners in the NBA. At least her estimated worth by herself is $700 million. Put the brothers together at various, worths themselves. It adds up to a lot, yes. But her as a individual was one of the, the poor governors of the NBA, for lack of a better term. And maybe she just put it like you said. Maybe she was just tired. Maybe she's just tired of the day-to-day operations and functionings of one of the most recognized sports entities on the planet, and said, you know what, just made that call, or her representatives made that call, and they said they threw out a number. If you give us 30% above what our value of our team is, according to the last, uh, you know, prospectus that's been done on it, 10 billion is a nice round number. That's what we'll do, and that's what got it done. And that's right, Bloodhound. Each kid is getting, over $1 billion for this, and that's not too shabby to be a bus family member right now.
It's not something that's new. The O'Malleys, when they sold the Dodgers, they were great owners. Fred Clare was the Andrew Friedman of that organization at the time, very well respected. Won World Series. Dodgers were very competitive for a very long time. But there's a time, guys. Gerald, you've heard me talk about sportscasters and guys that are doing shows and guys that have done, podcasts, whatever. There's a shelf life to things. A lot of people just continue, right? Like this ownership. Like, I know there's some noise coming out of New York that what's his name's going to sell, right? He's tired, even probably. I forgot. I'm drawing a blank. Who's the owner of the Knicks?
Dolan.
Dolan.
Just think cheap, and then you go.
Yeah,
the guy who owns the Sphere out here. Yes,
right. And then you've heard me talk about the Cincinnati Bengals sometimes. Mike, the Brown family.
Yes.
Now it's a lot. It's a lot harder for NFL teams to sell, even if they're broke, because the money's already divided. They have the greatest TV contracts in the history of TV. The NFL is the only entity, I don't even want to say sports league, it's the only entity that goes into a boardroom and tells the TV people what they're going to pay them. Usually it's the other way around, right? You go in there, you're like, all right, what are you guys going to pay us? No. NFL comes in and gives them the number. Oh, CBS, Fox, NBC, you're going to each give us this number. And of course, they're already on their knees when they get into the room, right?
So I'm asking you this. First off, Parade on Figueroa on Twitch. Always great to have him here, as well as everybody else. Thank you for joining us on this breaking news video. He said he's excited for the sale, but how do we feel about Jeannie Buss continuing to serve as governor after the sale is completed, according to reports, which follows a trend, Joe, Boston Celtics, for instance, allowing the sale to happen, but still the old ownership to stay in place and a leadership control. Mark Cuban, I believe, still had he didn't have a say as far as it's concerned, but how he kept some of his control after he sold the team. This seems to be a trend. I'm not in love with this. You spend $10 billion to go ahead and buy a company. You should be able to dictate how it goes from there. If they're satisfied with Jeannie Buss to continue to serve as governor, so be it. But if I was Mark Walter, I'm not sure I'd really kind of would like that going forward. But
it sounds like Jeannie.
It's a cake and eat it too scenario is basically what it is.
Well, here I'll give you a familiar scenario. Frank McCourt, the previous owner of the Dodgers, owns the parking lots still at Dodger Stadium. You could take what you can. If they come back at you with, "Hey, I got to have this," you can have this. You take it. Jeannie Buss is 63 years old. She's technically 4 years, whatever the retirement age now. I've heard 67 sometimes too. She's coming to retirement age. I don't see Jeannie Buss in the next 7 years running the Lakers as a quote unquote governor. So at some point, this is going to run out. And Jim Buss isn't going to be there. Johnny Buss isn't going to be there. The other Buss sister isn't going to be there. So it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time that they will replace Jeannie Buss with someone that they want. They just got to wait now. What this means for Rob Pelinka, I don't know the contingencies in the contract. If Jeannie Buss said, look, as long as I'm here, Rob is here, I wouldn't be surprised if that's something in the contract. It is what it is. But Jeannie and Rob, no matter how much power they have here in terms of quote unquote decision making, they're not going to really be in charge. It's more of a facade that they're in charge. I think they're doing it because they want to do what they want to do, which is run the team, but not deal with the financials, which is what the Guggenheims will do, and Mark Walters, right? Well, that's it. It's not a problem in my view, and structures like this that I've heard in the past, I kind of know what's going to happen. And Jeannie and Rob are going to have a job, and it's contingent on them selling to have that job. Fine, but the Guggenheims run this thing, and they will be able to dictate yes and no, and that's okay with me. If the Laker fandom needs to wait 5-6 years for the complete flip, so be it. That's fine. Friedman wasn't right away the player personnel guy when the Guggenheims took over in 13. I think Friedman came in, I think, in 2016.
Okay.
So let it play out. The big part, the most important part has happened. And I want to give credit to Jeannie and Rob again. It's not like they are the Mike Browns of the league or the Dolans. Hey, they just had a huge transaction February 1. They set the stage for the Guggenheims to take over. And now, what do you think Luka's going to do? Boy, he's going to sign that extension the second he has an opportunity to, right? It's going to be the face of the Lakers at the same time that the Guggenheims take over. What happened the last time? A star came right as the new owner came in. Y'all remember? His name was Dr. Buss. The other guy was named Magic Johnson. Yeah, I feel pretty damn good right now. And I was already feeling pretty damn good. Dodgers whooping the Padres' ass. Manager Sheed sitting there yelling the day before about who the hell are you to Andy Pajes, and Andy Pajes goes too deep and 4 for 4 in the following game. So LA is winning, baby. LA sports is winning, and we're winning big. Now, if only the dipshits who run the city could get their act together, then LA could be the center of this country again, especially in sports, and we could focus on stuff that matters instead of other things.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for everybody for listening. Please like and subscribe. Get the word out there that we're here. Lakers breaking news hits. Who is here to go ahead and announce it and discuss it with you guys? None other than the Lakers Fast Break. So please get everybody out there to go ahead and start liking and subscribing to everything we do here at the Lakers Fast Break. Again, everybody's phone lit up. I know mine did. Even my 91-year-old mom says, Lakers are sold. What? You know, it's just something that's just you have to take a look at. But $10 billion, Joe, it's something I had discussed. And I didn't say that half-heartedly. I just knew that whatever the valuation was of the Lakers, you would have to go a lot higher. And mind you, I thought there would be a bidding war, but obviously the first right of refusal went to Mark Walter and the Guggenheims. So with that said, it looks like, again, the magic number 10, and I put that because I felt that, you know, when you're buying something so desirable, Joe, so desirable, let's say Symblaze becomes the leader, which it is, the leader in your industry, sometimes you have to go to the overpay, an extensive overpay, and 30% overvaluation is an overpay, but you have to do it. You have to do it to get something so valuable that in the long run, it will work out because this team will eventually be worth more than $10 billion. This team will get your money back. And for someone like the late Jerry Buss, who originally purchased the Lakers, and we know the story. It was already, put on TV as far as how that went through, and Donald Sterling and all that stuff that went down in regards to that, for $67.5 million back in 1979. Boy, the Lakers have come a long way, Joe. The Lakers have come a
yeah,
long way.
yeah, and valuation to worth, ultimate worth, which is the final number in purchase, it fell perfectly in line with what the Lakers are worth. So when you talk about a business, because this is a higher number, it's not going to go exactly to the percentages. But normally, let's say if my company was worth $1 billion, it has a very good chance to sell for triple of what that number is. So if it's making $1 million a year, let's say, you probably have a chance at someone buying it for $3 million, because they can figure out, okay, well, if we buy it at 3, that gives us a few years to kind of make up the number, and then it's profit after that. In this scenario, that the Lakers valuation last year on the Forbes list was $7.1 billion, and they sold for 10. That's about right. It's about 30% above what the valuation is. That's normal. So it's textbook at this point on what they purchased it for, and the profit will be above that, will be even quicker now, because they'll be able to throw in their resources in this and bring in whatever assets, players being one, or winning. Those things will continue to make that rise. I'm curious to see if the Lakers are going to pass. I believe they've already passed the Knicks and the Warriors now, and I'm curious to see if they're going to be passing the Cowboys. That's kind of, I want to see how that plays out. But yeah, it's I'm very, very, very excited. A lot of it is relief too. Excitement for me a lot of times is relief. And the Lakers tempered that relief, that concern in February a lot. And then now this is like, it went from 80%. Well, before February 1, I was sitting at like 30, 25%. Then it went to 80% when they got Luka. Now it's 100%. I am 100% relieved and happy, and of no concern that Mark Walters and the Guggenheims will allow the Lakers to be perennial winners, and Laker fans will never have to worry about an ownership issue again. I haven't seen it in 12 and a half years since the Guggenheims have taken over baseball in LA. Not one issue. The only issues that have gone on in anything Dodger related is, Dave Roberts sucks as a manager. And I was part of that brigade as well. That's it.
And still might be pending.
Well, no. I think I still believe, if you pay attention to the game as much as I do, something clicked last year. It clicked around August when an article came out that there was talk of Dave Roberts possibly managing his last season in LA. That was odd. It was odd timing, and the article sounded odd. It sounded like somebody leaked it. Didn't sound like some random article. And I believe, I can't prove it, I believe Dave Roberts, when they went into the playoffs, in some form or fashion said, all right, motherfuckers. Sorry, I had to say it like this. But I'm gonna make some calls if this is what you guys are trying to do. And look what happened. And that's all I asked. Dave left in Trident. Dave bunted. He bunted in the playoffs, and they scored. We were begging and pleading. Roberts, be in the moment. Stop looking at the paper. Wow, it's Andrew Friedman. Tell Andrew to sit his ass down. You think Vince Lombardi gave two shits what the city owners of Green Bay thought in the 50s and 60s? No. He said, shut up. I run this team. Go sit down and wait for us to win. 5 championships later, and a three-peat, and 2 Super Bowl wins. So I think Dave Roberts clicked finally. And look what he did. He had one of the more masterful managing roles I've ever seen in baseball. This was not having a 7-8 inning pitcher for 4, 5, 6, 7 games. He managed 20, 25 pitchers for 4 weeks and won a championship, and it was pretty damn dominant too. Imagine if he had pitchers, if he had starting pitching, not 1.5. If he had actually 4 starting pitchers, I don't even know if the Dodgers would have lost more than 1 game. But anyways, the Guggenheims have already shown they have a track record that they know exactly what they're doing. Their purchase of minority stakes in the Lakers in 2021 was the precursor of what just happened today. Because the resources are abundant. With them, Jeannie is 63 years old and has been protecting her father's business since he's been gone, and that's all she's done. That's all she can do. It's time for the new regime. It's time for the new sheriffs in town.
Mostly, again, she still retains the governor's position. We'll see how that lasts going forward. But once again, according to reports, according to Shams Charania of ESPN, the Lakers are agreeing, as far as the Buss family, are agreeing to sell the Lakers to Mark Walter, most notably one of the owners of the Los Angeles Dodgers, for $10 billion. That's right, $10 billion indeed. And again, Joe, like I said, it's just a nice round number, 10. It's, you don't get into finites, you don't go back and forth on numbers or 9 this or 8 point that or whatnot. It's like, you want it, $10 billion is going to get it, Joe. It's just that simple. And I like the fact that it is just cut and dry, just quite that simple. It was not any games or they're sitting down to negotiate for. They might have, but it sounds like the call originally came and just said, you know what, you want it, come and get it for $10 billion. It's just nice, round, clean, and there you go.
Yeah, it's also the beginning of a dynasty already in LA. The Dodgers have a 9-year window here, and year 1 was the 10-year window, and they've already produced a championship. So there's 9 more years of the Ohtani dynasty era, where if they end up winning 4 or 5 championships in this time, their legend grows even more, and it's going to coincide with the new acquisition, the new alleged star of the NBA, who could be the face of the NBA starting next year, in Luka Doncic. If Luka Doncic plays 75 games next year and the Lakers are a 2 or a 1 seed, he's going to be the MVP. And he will be the face of the NBA. And he will be a face that transcends, like we talked about in our previous show, that the NBA is suffering from a face of the league. LeBron will likely be done this time next year, which is something I would prefer to be, because you can't have 2 quarterbacks on the same team. There's a starting quarterback, there's a backup quarterback, and then there's an emergency quarterback. 3 different positions. Now, that could change. Maybe LeBron doesn't get hurt. Lakers win a championship. I've talked about that too. I would be willing to negotiate maybe 1 more year after that. Although if I was LeBron, I'd go out on top. But that's me.
Yeah.
Right? But I still believe that LeBron loves basketball, because I think he will never be better than anything in his life than basketball. and that's okay. That's how it's. You're not gonna get Walter White, the character Walter White. Bryan Cranston said it on the Howard Stern show. Howard asked him one of the few questions that didn't make me want to gargle Drano, because Howard Stern makes me sick to my stomach just listening to his voice. But he asked a really good question. He said, "You think you're ever going to get another role like that?" He goes, "Absolutely not. I will never have a better role than Walter White. LeBron will never have another role in his life better than being the best basketball player of his era." And that's not an argument. LeBron between 2011 and 2020 was the best basketball player on the planet, and I'll take this to the bank. He was better than Steph. He was better than Durant every single year in that decade, in my view. And that's it. That's it. That's just what it is. He's just the best basketball player of his era, and I don't think you can see any. I don't feel any argument against it. I just don't. He just was, and that's enough. That's good. And he had his time. It's time, just like now, Jeannie transferring her ultimate decision-making skills to someone who is about what's going on now and has the resources to do what's needed now.
We'll see what happens, my friend. But yes,
the burger flipper expert. Edwards who? Are you talking about Edwards in Minnesota? Big Venus. Pig Venus. That's another funny name.
Yeah, he was here the other day. He's been here before on occasion, I believe, as well. Good to have everyone here again. The breaking news: Shams Charania from ESPN has reported that Jeannie Buss and the Buss family are selling the Lakers to Mark Walter, most notably one of the owners of the Dodgers, for $10 billion. Yes, sports baby. It's not the full dream come true because, again, I would have liked the fact that Mark Walter also becomes the governor as well. But Jeannie Buss is retaining the governorship of the Lakers moving forward. And I know that Joe said that, at 63, it's not going to be a finite determination on how long she stays in this. So, again, Joe, I mean, this seems to be a growing trend in the NBA. It's like a cake and eat it too situation. I sell you my ownership in the company, yet I stay on as the person in charge. That kind of seems, I don't know. I personally would not like it. But then again, I'm going to have to live with it because ultimately I will have full control of what I want. It ultimately will come to the time where I will have, or Mark, in this case, Mark Walters will have the full say going forward. He has a large portion of this, but again, I don't know. Just having Jeannie Buss there, will it provide some uncomfortableness? Will it provide some a little bit of divisiveness? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But if it does, we'll report on it. And because Lakers stuff behind the scenes is always a little bit juicy.
I don't think that's going to play out. Guggenheim's are pretty methodical. Mm-hmm. She wants to be the governor. She wants to be the face of her dad's franchise. So be it. I told you, they let Frank McCourt own the parking lots. Who cares? Let him own the parking lot.
Well, you seem to care when you bring it up every time on your Joe Soro experiment channel.
Well, I just don't want Frank McCourt anywhere near the Dodgers, but they don't care. Mm-hmm. And in the end, we're being petty just because we don't like Frank McCourt. I don't dislike Jeannie Buss, even though she's irritated me for most of the last 5 years. Pelinka has definitely irritated me. I don't know if he's contingent on this either. However, Jeannie is not going to be the governor very long. She will step down sooner than you think. And then at that point, it's done. Is there a contingency that they have to sign the other bus boys? Pardon the pun.
I don't know. That's still
I
up in
doubt
the
it.
air at this time.
I doubt it. I doubt it. The Guggenheims are a no nonsense business. They are about handling business. You cannot be that good at running a baseball team like the Dodgers and not be able to run the Lakers the right way. It's just not gonna. It's just not possible for me to believe that. I don't believe they're gonna fail in this in any way. It's impossible. They are too good, and they are very, very methodical in how they set this up. That's the beautiful part. And you have a star. This isn't like they're starting from scratch either. They have a star at 26. This turned 26. They have so much of an advantage. And maybe that's why they decided to buy now.
Mhm.
They're like, you know what, Genie? You got this thing, you got this chessboard set up pretty nice now. We're not starting from the beginning. We got their king kind of stuck on the side now. Now, if we take over, now we can go ahead and do what we do well. And you can have the name, you can have the say, you can stay as the face of your team, your dad's team, but we'll be the engine. You can stay as the driver. Here, I'll throw in a NASCAR comparison. So Genie owned the team. Genie was the driver. But for those of you who know anything about stock car racing, Formula One, hell, I heard it costs $500 million a year to maintain a Formula One team. That number still doesn't compute in my head. I just can't. My brain doesn't, like, 500 million a year for a car and the team. Let's say that's true, and it probably is. So imagine you're the car owner of this, your car driver and your owner of this team. Well, you're getting a little over your head. You're not focused on your car. You're doing as best you can to keep everybody afloat. But then you have somebody that comes in out of nowhere and says, hey, by the way, we have $125 billion that we can tap into. How about we take over the team and you can still drive the car and then not have to worry about the business side in the back end. You just keep doing what you're doing, and we'll take care of the engine. We'll take care of the tires. We'll take care of the team around you. Go ahead and just make sure that we continue to win.
Want to go ahead and put on here, which is going to lead to my question as I brought this up. Magic Johnson just tweeted out his support for this. He said, I know that my sister Jeannie would have only considered selling the Lakers organization to someone she knows and trusts who would carry on the Buss legacy started by her father, Dr. Buss. Now she can comfortably pass the baton to Mark Walter, with whom she has a real friendship and can trust. She's witnessed him build a winning team with the Dodgers and knows that Mark will do right by the Lakers team, organization, and their fans. Both are extremely intelligent, visionaries, great leaders, and have positively impacted the greater Los Angeles community. I love both my sister, Jeannie Buss, and my business partner, Mark Walter. So with that, my friend, I ask you, will we be seeing Magic Johnson a little bit more often at Lakers HQ?
Any more than you already
far
have?
as any more than we already have, as far as coming back into, he went out the door and went out, naming names on the way out. Will we see him come back in? Because we know his relationship with Mark Walter and the Guggenheims.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably going to happen. Although I think Magic can go through the crypt anytime he wants as well, right? Or does he avoid?
Of course.
Does he avoid Rob Pelinka?
That's the question I'm really wanting to go ahead and ask. It's, does he come in? Is there a, by the way, we want Magic to come back in, take more of a leadership role in the organization once again, blah, blah, blah. Could we see that happening? Could we see that? Could we see him eventually replace Jeannie as governor?
No. Magic already said he has a great life. He needs Magic. Magic's best asset for anything is being Magic. If he has
Okay.
to step away from being Magic, then that doesn't work.
Mhm.
So that no, he will never have a front office job. He will be the mediator or the bridge to anything and everything, which is where he belongs.
Okay.
Yeah.
CJ says I'm not. I'm going to say this. As soon as I saw it was Guggenheim, I thought of Chelsea. Well, you've been asking. You said on where it's going to go to, and they had the first right of refusal on a sale or an offer per se, and which is their right. But you called this, and you and Empire Jeff wanted to wish this into existence. I had said that if they're going to do it, if Genie is going to sell it, it's going to be for much more than its valuation, and 10 billion is what I'd put it at. So in essence, we're both right on what we say and what we said happened. So we are happy in that sense that the Lakers are going into what I think is a better direction, a better future. I understand that there are still ties there as far as the organization, and no immediate changes, guys. I don't think will be made as far as the ownership, assuming the governor, the Rob, any of that, all that, the Rambi, all that's going to stay in place for now. The stability of the organization is probably going to be somewhat stable for now. I don't think there's going to be any drastic changes on a day-to-day basis yet. We'll see how this season goes and this summer goes, Joe. But I do think Rob Pelinka now has a little bit less protection than what he had before.
Yeah. To give you a brief history of the Dodgers, Dodgers purchased, or the Guggenheims purchased the Dodgers in 13. Ned Colletti was the GM for a couple seasons until Andrew Friedman and I believe it was Ferran. Ferran was the general manager. The first year Andrew took over in 2015. So this was a couple seasons after Ned Colletti was moved elsewhere to allow Friedman to take over the operation. And then slowly it turned from Andrew and Ferran to eventually Brandon Gomes as the GM. And then, of course, Andrew Friedman continued to be the operations guy. And then they hired Dave Roberts in the summer of 2015. I'm sorry, fall, winter of 15. And then his first season was in 2016. So it's going to take a minute here to round up the operation.
You won't see changes overnight, everyone.
As far as I don't want to hear about the Rambi. See, that's another thing about the Dodgers. You don't hear about Rambis and bartender brothers on the side, or this jackass over here is doing whatever. You don't hear that in LA with the Dodgers. This is about professionals. They smile. They're nice. They're respectable. Dodgers are very big on family. They're in LA, which is a cesspool, right? When it comes
and that's something I want to ask you, though. Let me interrupt real quick. My apologies. Does this interrupt the Lakers' nepotism, which has been something that's been in place for quite some time? If you're a Laker for life, all that type of thing, which has worked for us and hasn't worked for us. And in a more modern era, it's kind of not worked out as well as we'd hoped at times in recent years. Your thoughts on this? Does the Laker nepotism, I don't want to say stop, because it won't stop, but lessen a little bit? Will the Lakers look more to outside sources for talent, bringing in talent? I'm not talking about bringing in talent from a player perspective, from a personnel perspective. Will the Lakers start looking more outwardly to different directions?
The Guggenheims don't operate on nepotism. Maybe being an assistant with someone's uncle, like something like that. But as far as the mainstay positions, no.
They get the best.
Yeah. and this is something I can relate to. Guys, I could hire any of my friends for my work. I could have nepotism in my business. And believe me, they've asked. But the first question I ask them is, what are you going to do? I'm not a boss. I'm a boss by name. I don't tell you what to do. You need to figure it out. My guys who have been with me for 7 years, since the beginning, I don't tell them what to do unless it's something specific, like watch out for traffic coming in, give yourself 30 minutes before the normal time, like things like that. I need you to have a brain, but if you're dumber than me, you're wasting my time. I might have been able to install turf, but the guys that are installing turf every day for me can walk me out the door in skills because they're doing it every day. You want the smartest people around you in the job that they're doing. Not business smart, like you want to always be up on the business side. Always. You want to be smart there. But as far as the skill set, so for example, I'm not a marketing guy. I have a guy that I've hired that's very good. Just hired him 2 weeks ago. He knows how to create marketing. I don't know shit about creating marketing. And guess what? He's already built a pipeline that I like. And soon the results are going to come from that. The Guggenheims are a professional business. So to answer your question with some detail there, hell no, there's going to be any nepotism in the mainstay positions. You're going to see the best people here at some point. That includes the coach. That includes the player personnel / GM or whatever the hell they call these guys. And I do believe that Jeannie has a shelf life, and it's going to be a lot shorter than you think. Because I don't think Jeannie's going to be wanting to run a basketball team in her 70s. I just don't see how that's going to make any sense.
I hope you're right, my friend, because again, this comfort zone where you have your good friends, it worked early on for the Lakers organization. I'm not going to say it differently, and it's worked at various points in time. But there are points in time where there's been good individuals out there that we have clamored for, that have been taken up by other organizations, and those organizations have flourished where the Lakers may have not. And again, you don't have to be a former Laker or a Laker just to be hired or be considered. You should be the best at what you do in order for Lakers to go ahead and go and get it, as far as them being hired, being brought on to the organization. Now, JJ was a step in the right direction after what happened as far as somebody who doesn't have, well, actually, in a way, he did have direct ties in regards to the podcast with LeBron. So you could say it's indirect ties there. How about that? But maybe this will lead to, again, if Rob Pelinka doesn't get the job done this summer and the Lakers don't start off on a good note, maybe this will lead to changes more rapidly that may be needed if they're needed. I'm hoping I've been proven wrong. I'm hoping that Rob Pelinka will get the changes done, will get the roster fixed, will get the roster to where it needs to go, and the Lakers can make a run this next season. Because I do think, as I've said before many times, the door is open now for a Lakers title, Joe. I understand with LeBron, how much money he takes up, et cetera, et cetera. The league is in a state of flux. There is no dominant team. OKC is not a dominant team out there. You just see them struggling to get through this. They will most likely win the title. They're heavily favored, especially with Halliburton injured, but they are not a dominant team. No matter how well or they reload, no matter how many assets they have, they are a very, very good team, has a ton of assets. They'll be good going forward, but they will, as we see, Joe, they have their flaws. A team can come along and beat them. Heck, the Lakers beat them twice at their own home in a row within a span of 3 days. So again, if the Lakers get the right personnel both on the court and off the court sooner rather than later, I hope that it will be to where we like it with another world championship. But Rob Pelinka, I'm going to be the guy. I'm at the meme with the guy with the mug and says, "Prove me wrong, Rob. Prove me you can be the guy that builds another championship like what you did in 2019, 2020."
I don't really care about Genie or Rob or the Ramby or any of those things anymore. They're irrelevant. If they're there to be the poster childs for the position, so be it. I trust the Guggenheims and I trust Mark Walters to operate the way he's operated in another area that's been extremely successful. Ned Coletti was the GM for a couple of years before they finally got what they wanted. You got to let the Guggenheims play this out a little bit.
Yeah,
Now
it's not going to be overnight.
No,
Again,
you got to let them go into the operation, get a feel for what's going on. They might have all this money, they might have had minority ownership, but they haven't had this kind of ownership yet. They're going to need to get their hands into some things and figure out what the next steps are. And I have full trust in them.
I did want to mention also as well, Sports Baby is right that after the sales concurred, the Buss family will still own a minority percentage, about 15% of the organization, according to reports, Joe. So they will be still like the dentist. I forget his name. It was mentioned earlier in the show. He has Kuhn, something like that. It has 4.5%. It was mentioned up here in the chat earlier. Somebody did. Shout out to them. They mentioned earlier chat that he owns a 4.5% of it, and then also as well. Again, you got to consider that the Lakers, Genie Buss, the Buss family will own 15% of it. But again, by far and away, the majority ownership of the Lakers now transfers over to Mark Walter. So again, I'm looking forward to eventual changes if the Lakers do not find success that they have. There's a good team now. But the window is open, Joe. The door is open for a team to come in there and stake their claim on next year's championship, Joe. I'm very convinced that there is no dominant team in the NBA right now, and now is the time to go ahead and go after it.
Yes, I agree. And you're going to need more than money to build a dynasty now. Really build a dynasty. There's really only been 2 dynasties the last 25 years. It's the Warriors and the Lakers. You can put the San Antonio Spurs in there, sure, the Duncan dynasty, but he never repeated, and their championships were somewhat spread out, and they had a few different teams win during that reign. I'm talking about for a 3, 4, 5-year span. I always say you got to win at least 3 championships. I used to think 4 was the number, but 3 and a three-peat is a dynasty. You can't deny that, right? So there's really been a solid 2 dynasties in the last 25 years in the NBA. If Miami had won 3 out of the 4 instead of 2 out of the 4, I think you could have said that Heat team was a dynasty, but they didn't. The Lakers now have an interesting ace in that agents, management, opportunities for these players, they're going to look at the Lakers and they're going to say, if we take a little less, we're going to have the largest stage run by the best ownership on the sports planet. I can say North American sports because I don't know much about what's going on in Europe. I'm sure soccer fans out there and rugbies and all the other sports, there's maybe an ownership out there that I don't know about, but I'm talking at the very least North American sports. I have no qualms saying that the Guggenheims are the best owners in sports. You're gonna have to convince me who's better.
And Genie again, the Buss family, they're everything. They get to sell it at 30% above evaluation. They still retain ownership as far as the 15% ownership. So they'll get the residuals from that in essence, for as long as they want, Joe, because they'll own like that it's a large enough piece that they'll get a large enough pieces back on an each and every year basis, plus the 10 billion, plus the fact that Genie is still governor. And I'm sure the Bus families, as far as the Bus kids and everything like that, they'll all be still part of this going forward. It's like very much a cake and eat it too situation. Man, you got to give it to Genie and the Bus family. They worked out a great deal. They worked out a great deal that works out in every way, shape, or form for them.
And it should. It should, because you're looking at a team, since the Bus family has owned the team, has produced 11 world championships. And what, 8, let me see, 4, 5, 6, 17 finals appearances. I mean, come on. 11 championships, 17 finals appearances. If that's not the standard, I don't know what is. 2 repeats, 1 3-peat, and arguably the greatest basketball players on a singular franchise. You could build an all-time team just with Lakers from 1979 till now. Think about it. Magic, LeBron, Kobe, Shaq, Kareem. You could have an all NBA team with just those guys, one from one team. Of course, it's worth 10 billion. It's probably worth 12 billion. But at some point, you gotta time this right, and they timed it perfect. Genie knew that she just wasn't equipped to handle what was coming. And what's coming is the current financial structure of the world is saying you are no longer adequate. Not because it's your fault. It's just you're not the Guggenheims. You're not the Ishbias. You're not those people. Those guys made billions and billions of dollars and God knows what. And man, did she sell to the perfect partner. Not only did you sell it to someone that has more money than God, but these guys have a lot of that godly value. I'm not overly religious. I do believe in a God. But this is, in my assessment and my experience in watching them with the Dodgers, the most family-oriented billionaires I've ever seen own a sports franchise.
So it's so funny because it was put right. What does LeBron think about this, or what will LeBron think about this? It puts in perspective because again, we talked about Genie's net worth. It was before this was a roughly $700 million. Actually, LeBron had a net worth higher than hers until this. And that being said, I don't think this changes much because, again, Genie is still retaining the governorship going forward. So she'll still be running the day-to-day operations, at least for the foreseeable future. So I don't think much will change. And in regards to LeBron, I don't think Mark Walter will put much his 2 cents into this in regards to the handling of LeBron James, unless something goes vehemently wrong, Joe. Again, whatever LeBron decides he wants to do, ultimately, that's what the Lakers will go with. Whether it's good or bad for the franchise, and you and I have discussed this, you and I have said what we wanted, but if LeBron wants to do another 1-1, or if he wants to retire, or if he wants to just play one more year, like he's leaning on, and as far as what supposedly the rumors are, and in the conversations that he's had that said he's trying to get back to good health for next season, we'll see what happens. But ultimately, I think that Mark Walter will not step in regards to this, in regards to LeBron. So I think nothing has really changed as far as LeBron's ultimate outcome with the Lakers.
My instinct says LeBron is on borrowed time. That's it. He's got one more year on his contract, and he has one chance of coming back, in my view, and that is if they win the championship in 2026. If he flames out like he did the last couple of years, I just don't think he's coming back.
Okay.
And that's how it should play out. You can't give a $50 million contract to someone who's going to lose in the first round every year. If you're going to lose in the first round of year, I'd rather be developing talent and chemistry with the Luka run team. But at the same time, LeBron commands too much of the atmosphere. Even if he did play a secondary role, third role, which is complete BS. He's never played a second or third role. He's always played one, even though he hasn't performed as a one. You just need to move Joe Montana to let Steve go. That's the first thing that popped in my head when it came to LeBron, Luka. You gotta let Joe Montana leave. You gotta tell him you gotta go. I can't. Steve's never gonna flourish with you here. And that's what they need to do with LeBron next year. Unless they win it all, then I'd be willing to sit down and say, all right, well, let's give it another shot since this worked. It's all about winning, boys and girls. It's always about winning. The Lakers dodged a bullet this season a little because I was worried about the Celtics getting up another championship, man. That was looking scary. So now the Lakers have to win one to tie again, thank God, and then they got to win another one to get past them in our lifetime. I'd like to see that because I have full confidence that the Dodgers are going to pass the St. Louis Cardinals in the National League in titles. Right now, the St. Louis Cardinals have 11. The Dodgers have 8. I believe before the Ohtani era is over, the dynasty is over, I do believe that they will win 4 more championships in the next 9 years at the very least. And they will be second to the Yankees. No one's going to catch up to the Yankees, at least not in this century. The Yankees have 27 championships. But I'd be willing to take over the National League at the very least.
Corbina, sorry, I meant to tell you that this will never stop LeBron's passive aggressiveness. He says, will this, because Corbina was saying, will this stop LeBron? No, LeBron's always going to be LeBron.
Well, you heard what he said today, right?
Yeah.
Why do we value rings so much? I mean, this is every time ring culture. Oh, LeBron.
Again, it's like LeBron is going to be Bron. There's nobody that's going to make him change.
God rest his soul. I would love to have interviewed Bill Russell after an interview like that. Bill, what do you think about what LeBron said here? I don't think Michael would say anything publicly because I think Bill would say something public because he didn't give a shit. Michael's a little more diplomatic.
He did make it more about the team. His comments were more about the team.
I heard what he said.
Okay.
I heard what he said. Okay. Do you know who the hell Bill Wennington is? Or Luke Longley? Or Tony Kukoc? Do you see Pippen become an international star? Minus Michael Jordan because they were playing as a team? Or was it because they were beating the shit out of everybody and stacking rings? Another quote. And unfortunately, he regretted it later because I think it had a different connotation at the time. Vince Lombardi said, winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. You want to be buddy-buddy? You want to live a nice, easy life? Do that at home. When you get to the gym, when you get to the arena or the stadium, it's winning time. You're getting paid $50 million to do this. You better fucking win. Otherwise, take $5 million and then go be buddy with your teams. And when you look at the Guggenheims, to mention this, they've never not competed. Late Dodgers got cheated. They should have 4 world championships. They've made the playoffs every year. And baseball's different than the NBA. Remember, the best players in baseball only really have, in terms of everyday players, they only have 1 at bat for every 9 tries to make a difference. It's not basketball. You can't just go throw the ball to someone in basketball and they can control back and forth. Baseball's different. Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani played together for 6 seasons. You know how many times they went to the playoffs, Gerald?
How many?
0. Modern day Kobe and Shaq playing baseball. I should say this. The equivalent of Mickey Mantle and Babe Ruth on the same team in their primes. 0 playoffs. That's the other side of bad ownership, by the way. Thank you, Artie Moreno, for wasting Mike Trout's entire career. Mike Trout is going to be Ernie Banks.
Yeah, don't even give me. Actually, yeah, Ernie Banks is going to be.
It is an absolute tragedy in sports that Mike Trout. It's over. Even if Mike Trout gets traded tomorrow, he spent 12 seasons wasting his time.
Mm-hmm.
This is about winning.
I said it on the air here. Jamie Sweet, a hardened Angels fan, and I told him, I said the biggest mistake was actually keeping Trout and Ohtani, and he was just like aghast. You could see he did the Joe popping his eyeballs out like you have seeing below you on the right-hand side where you're supposed to subscribe. Please subscribe. But yeah, he was just aghast that I said that years ago when we had this conversation, and it's just like, look what happened. Look what happened. Trout has become an afterthought. Ohtani is now the center of the MLB universe, and it is what it is. So,
the greatest of all time doesn't say things like, oh my God, we live in a ring culture. I mean, if there's any more evidence that LeBron will never be number 1, he's putting his own stamp on himself there. It's not us, some schmuck in Temecula talking about this. It's what he says. It's what he does. Just look. Don't be enamored with stats. Just because somebody plays for 20 plus years, there's been plenty of guys that have played 20 plus years. Yes, it's an anomaly. But I've said this before. I want your best. I want 10 years of your best than 20 years of back and forth. Especially when you're supposed to be an all-time great. I don't want to see you. I don't want to see Clayton Kershaw be what he became the last 3-4 years. I know why he stayed. He loves the guys. He loves the atmosphere, and they love him. I get it. But as a fan, I don't want all-time greats to look like average players. I'm sorry. I don't prefer it that way.
Now that's something, Quabina, that's very interesting. He's wondering what is the new philosophy that may take place once Mark Walter gets his real hands dirty as far as getting in there in the organization. Will it be bringing a more modern approach? Is there anything the Lakers are doing that's maybe antiquated? That he can bring a little bit more modern touch. You understand out there the Dodgers are at where they're at, not just because they finance everything, but that they are the leaders at all or many different aspects as far as how to run an organization in Major League Baseball. And in doing so, they must have picked up and learned some things that they can bring to the Los Angeles Lakers organization. That's what I'm excited for, is bringing the Dodgers excellence and the fact that they have maintained themselves at an elite level for years now, and bringing that winning formula, Joe, to the Lakers organization in a bigger fashion now than ever before.
Yeah, I don't think you can be as analytical in basketball as you can in baseball. But what the Dodgers have done is both. Remember, I asked you about those who asked, well, what's better, Xbox or PlayStation? My answer,
I said X. I said
that's
Xbox
fine.
simply because it's a better value for the
That's
consumer.
for how you're judging that, that makes sense. But for someone who doesn't have a dog in either fight, I don't even know if that's a good phrase for that, and you're confused, just buy both. So I have seen the Dodgers do both. They've not only acquired the best talent, but they've also used modern science to help them build a winning organization. So in basketball, talent is a little bit more restrictive. You don't have a lot of game-changing superstars like a Jokic, a Luka, a Shea Gilgeous now. You don't have a lot of those guys in basketball. In baseball, you can get a good amount. You got the Bryce Harper, you got the Otani, you got one on each team usually that's pretty darn like badass, right? But in basketball, the ones that really make the difference, because there are some really good players, but they also aren't winning type players either. Well, I think their best asset is going to be the way they run an organization. The NBA player already knows that they voted in this new CBA and they've capped each other's ability to make more money. Oh, well, what does that mean? What do you mean to make more money? Oh, they know. They know they cannot. There's only 30 teams, right? You want to win championships every year. The second and third guy is probably going to have to, definitely the third guy is going to have to decide on whether he can take less money to be on a team that has 2 stars on it to win on a regular basis. And if there's a team out there that can convince that third star or the fourth guy to take less money to play with the 2 main stars, it's going to be this ownership, because this ownership has already shown in baseball that there's players doing that. Tanner Scott had a higher offer by the Red Sox this offseason. He took less to come to LA. Teoscar Hernandez, word was he had a better offer from, I think it was the Red Sox, and there was some talk about the Cubs, I think. And I don't know if it was Toronto either. I don't know. Nothing official came out, but I think the Red Sox were going to pay him more money. He took less to stay in LA. That's the kind of stuff that Walters and the Guggenheims are going to bring to LA. The second they start seeing that, because the stage is much bigger in LA and it was already there. Now you add the resources of the best ownership in sports. And you have Luka, who's a giving star. Luka is a giving star. This is not Carmelo Anthony in Denver.
Well, I'll go ahead and wrap this up, and I'll provide thoughts on this. Hopefully, we'll be able to come back later tonight. I've already reached out to some of the other guys if they want to do a show later tonight. Joe and I will be back here later this evening. And I know that CCG and a couple others said they couldn't stay on because of work commitments. So they asked if we could do another show later tonight, which we'll do and we'll provide. So hopefully you'll join us then. But before we go, again, according to ESPN, Shams Charania, he's reporting that the Buss family has agreed to a sale of the Los Angeles Lakers as far as the majority ownership of it to Mark Walter, who's notably one of the ownership group of the Guggenheims, a $10 billion valuation on that. Just wanted to go ahead and make sure that everybody knows that. The Lakers will also allow that Jeanie Buss stays on as governor. And I'm going to read a quote from Ramona Shelburne here on Twitter here in just a sec. The Buss family still retains a little bit over 15% ownership. I want to go ahead and mention that as well. But Ramona Shelburne just reposted this posted this, and also Dave McMenamin reposted it. Important to note that Jeannie Buss, and I think that there's a lot of the word out there is, because it's for clarification purposes. And you notice Joe Ramona Shelburne, who was on the outs with the Lakers, is helping to report a little bit of this. It's funny how that works out as far as that's concerned. Just to put that little tidbit in there for you. Jeannie Buss will not only remain the Lakers governor, but will continue to run the team for at least a number of years, according to sources with knowledge of the deal. In other words, it was guaranteed as part of the agreement that Jeannie Buss would remain in charge for the foreseeable future, and Mark Walter fully endorsed this plan, according to sources, Joe. Your thoughts before we head on out.
Call it whatever you want. You wanna call it legit? You want to call it a puppet? I don't give a shit. All I know is Mark Walters owns the majority of the LA Lakers, and I am in complete elation. This is beyond great. And Laker fans need to get ready for greatness. Get ready. It's coming. It's coming to the Lakers. It's already started in LA with the Dodgers. Dodgers win back-to-back this year. 3 in 6 years. Still with 8 years left with Ohtani. Ohtani's going to win his 4th MVP. Ohtani's pitching now. I mean, the only thing left right now is to clean up that area now around the crypt. And for God's sakes, change the name. There's nothing worse than a .com in a freaking arena. It is the stupidest.
But if they have the agreement for 10, 15, 20 years is what they usually sign them for.
Kill it. It's a minute thing. I don't care either way. I'm just saying I don't have any worry now for the future of the Lakers. Zero. I have complete confidence that this is going to get run exactly how we all want it to be run.
Aeronautics says back-to-back Dodger titles, and now the Lakers purchase.
This 6 months been a hell of a 6 months. Was it February, March, April, May, June? 5 months. Luka Doncic, and now the Guggenheims own the Lakers. I mean, come on. This is a dream.
And the Buss family still owns a little over 15%, so they won't have much of a say as they did going forward. But again, Jeannie Buss does retain the governorship for what is reportedly still, as long as she wants it. So we'll see what happens as how this unfolds. But as for now, according to when all this wraps up and the papers get signed, the Lakers will have a new owner in Mark Walters. So again, we'll be on a little bit later tonight if some of the other guys want to jump on and put in their 2 cents, so because provide you an even more different perspective as far as some opinions on that. So I've reached out to John Costa, Sean Grice, and I'm reaching out to all the guys if you want to come on later tonight, or if you're hearing me now, hit me up at LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com to share your perspective on that. But for now, this is Joe Soro, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this. And truly appreciate it. We'll hopefully be on later tonight, but we'll definitely be on after the game tomorrow, bringing you what you need to know about the Lakers and the NBA, always right here, including breaking news at the Lakers Fast Break podcast.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yep.